Welcome to page 16 of your probability packet. We are going to use tree diagrams one last time to help us construct an organized list of all possible outcomes. So the goal, remember, is to use the tree diagram to get to that complete and organized list. Let's take a look at the first problem we've been given. Problem number 1. It states the manager of a deli wants to list all possible sandwich combinations from the menu shown below. Construct a tree diagram that shows the number of possible sandwich combinations using one kind of bread, one kind of cheese, and one kind of meat from the menu. Now, let's take a look at our list and see how many decisions have to be made. Or in other words, step 1, how many events are there? The first event is deciding what type of bread you would like. There are 2 elements in that pool. Secondly, you have to decide what type of cheese would you like? And there are 2 elements in that pool. And lastly, your third and final event or decision is what type of lunch meat would you like? There are 2 outcomes in that pool. So we have 3 events that must occur. And we now know the amount of elements in each pool. There are 2 here times 2 in the cheese category times 2 in the lunch meat category. 2 times 2 times 2 means our list will have 8 possible outcomes. Now, let's construct our tree and then construct our list of outcomes. Let's start with our pools again. And let's abbreviate. We have sourdough, we'll use an S, and wheat for our first pool. Then our second pool or decision or event is deciding what type of cheese. We have cheddar or American. And thirdly, do we want turkey or ham? Now let's begin our tree. Grab the elements from the first pool and stack those elements vertically. We could choose sourdough or we could choose wheat. Next, let's work with the sourdough branch. We've taken care of the first pool. Let's move on to the second pool. With sourdough, if you were to have selected that type of bread, you could choose sourdough with cheddar or sourdough with American. And finally, once you get that taken care of, check, move to the last category. Once you've decided sourdough cheddar, you have to decide if with that cheddar you're going to have turkey or cheddar and ham. And the same is true for the American. You can have sourdough, American, turkey, or sourdough, American, ham. So we see we have 4 sandwich combinations with sourdough. Let's list them before we work with the wheat branch on the tree. We could have sourdough, cheddar, turkey, SCT. Sourdough, cheddar, ham. Then we can have sourdough, American, turkey. And finally, sourdough, American, ham. When it comes to constructing the tree diagram for wheat, it's almost like a cut and paste. The wheat will have the same branches as the sourdough tree. Pause the video and create the tree for wheat. In this case, your tree should look something like this. Now, on your own, create the list of outcomes for wheat bread sandwiches. The list will look almost identical to the sourdough list, except instead of beginning with an S, it's going to begin with a W. Take a moment, pause the video, and create your own list. Your list should look something like this. Now we can use this list to figure out some probabilities. We know we have 8 possible outcomes. Let's say we write each outcome on a piece of paper, and we put those 8 pieces of paper into a hat. And we're going to draw out one sandwich combination. What's the probability that you will get wheat and turkey on your sandwich? Well, we can calculate that chance or that probability. Look at your list and see how many wheat-turkey combinations you can find. Let's put a circle around these combinations. For example, this sandwich has wheat and turkey, and so does this sandwich. It has wheat and turkey. We would have a 2 out of 8 chance, which is 1/4, 0.25 or 25% chance. We can measure the chance of that occurring. Another question might be, what's the probability when you're drawing from the hat that you will get sourdough for your bread and for your cheese, cheddar, or American? Take a look at your list and see how many sandwiches have sourdough combined with cheddar or sourdough combined with American. For example, circle, this has sourdough cheddar, and so does this sandwich. This sandwich has sourdough American, and so does this sandwich. The probability of selecting sourdough with either of those 2 cheeses would be a 4 out of 8 chance, which is 1/2, as a decimal 0.5, and as a percent you'd have a 50% chance. Let's do one last problem. What's the probability when you're randomly selecting sandwiches that when you reach your hand into the hat and pull out a piece of paper that you will have ham on your sandwich? Well, let's look at all the combos. That has ham, so that would be considered a success. This has ham, so does this sandwich, and so does this sandwich. Once again, you would have a 4 out of 8 chance, which is equivalent to 1/2, 0.5, or 50%. Now let's take a look at problem 2. Problem number 2 is similar to problem number 1, but in this case, you will be constructing your tree diagram and your list on your own and checking it at the end of the video. You will also answer the questions given to you at the bottom of the page. You can check all your work at the end of the video. We're going to start together, but then you will complete the work on your own. The question states, for lunch, each student has a choice of 1 main course, 1 beverage, and 1 dessert. So let's look at our different choices or events that must occur. You must pick a main course, that's first. Your second event is select a beverage, and your third event is select a dessert. So that means we have 1, 2, 3 pools. Now, 2 elements in our first pool, 2 elements in our second pool, and 2 elements in our third pool means that there are 8 possible outcomes for different combinations. Let's construct our pools. Our first pool is the choice of the main course. We have hot dogs and hamburgers. I think I'll use a D for dog and an H for hamburger. In the next pool, we have the choice of a soda or juice. And in the third pool, we have ice cream or cookies. We'll use an I for ice cream and a C for cookies. Now construct your tree diagram. That's your first step, is to construct the tree and then make a list of all possible lunch combinations. Then answer the questions given to you below. You need to find the probability in each case. And we know when we see the word probability, we think fraction. So you're certainly going to start with a fraction, convert it to a decimal, then a percent. Pause the video and complete this section on your own. At the very end of the video, I will post the answer key, but please try this one on your own. Pause the video right now. Your tree diagram should look like this tree, and your list should have 8 possible lunch combinations, and it should look like this. What's the probability of grabbing a lunch that contains a juice when randomly selecting? Well, we have 1, this has juice, 2, this has juice, 3 and 4. You have a 4 out of 8 chance, which is 1/2, 0.5, or 50%. And the probability of grabbing a lunch that has a hamburger in combination with ice cream? Well, this one has hamburger with ice cream, and this has a hamburger with ice cream. That would be 2 out of 8, 1/4, 0.25, or a 25% chance. This concludes page 16.